What's up, y'all? This is Dumark. I'm here with a nice special video for y'all. So I've been thinking about making this video for a minute because when I got started in digital art, I had questions on what apps were like good to use and good to get started with. I started personally with Autodesk Sketchbook, which is the first app I actually like got started digital art with. I did digital art with Photoshop before. It was a lot more complex and convoluted. So if you're looking to get started with a nice beginner app, or you have a phone, or you have access to Autodesk Sketchbook and you've been wondering how to use it, this is the place for you. So let's get started. So you can download Autodesk Sketchbook on almost anything, on Mac, on Windows, on Android, iOS, and I think even on Linux. I'm not too sure about that. But almost anything you have can run Autodesk Sketchbook. I'm going to show you the differences between each platform as like we go on in future videos. But this is right now on for Android. So it's basically the same thing on Android and iOS. There's some slight differences in how the app layout looks, even on the tablets, and also in stability, which is something you might want to consider if in case you're trying to get started with the app. But it's a lot more stable on iOS in my usage, especially when the tablets are concerned. All right, so you can download Autodesk Sketchbook in the App Store like so. I already have it downloaded. For some reason it's not enabled, so I'm going to enable it and open it. As you can see, I had something that I was doing, so I'm going to clear it. If you want to clear it, what you do, let me take out my S Pen so I can show you. What you want to do is follow this little pointer. This is the main menu, and this is where you're going to get started with a lot of your sketches. So you can go to a new sketch, you can go to a gallery, you can go to share, preferences. You could go to the mode you want to use. If you want to use your finger, you toggle that off and turn off pen mode. Pen mode allows you to use only pen inputs. So that means your hand won't obstruct your drawing. And then you have support, which I virtually don't use. So this is a way for you to contact the developer in case you have any issues. So let's look at a new sketch. Or let's look at gallery real quick. So you can save the current sketch you're in, and it'll be saved to your gallery. So your gallery is basically a directory where all the sketches you have made live. So you can retitle the sketches that you have, and at the same time look at them on a layers and what resolution you designed in. I like to draw in a square resolution because I upload to Instagram quite a bit. But you can go with the screen resolution if you want, or you can look up the pixel resolution that you're looking for, and then you can put that in. Let's see. If you go to custom, you can customize the resolution. If you toggle on keep proportions, it means that the proportions are going to stay relevant to each other throughout the scrolling. So for example, it's 4,430 by 4,430. If I scroll down, the proportions remain the same. If I wanted it to be different, I would toggle that off and then change the proportions. So I'm going to keep that on, and we're going to go for, as you can see, the proportions, because I toggled it off, it changed. So I'm going to go with 5, 2, 7, 8, and I keep the proportions locked. All right. Let's go back and let me show you a couple other things. There's others. So there's some also presets that you have hidden down here. under custom. So you can look at the mobile presets. These are mobile resolutions. There's web presets in case you want to draw for the web. And then there's film and video. So common film and video presets in case you're looking to do something. We could even go with 2K. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a 2K display, but remember that these presets are not super varied. For example, the phone I'm using is a 2K phone, but because of the aspect ratio, the proportions are not gonna be 1:1 for what we have here. This is a 16:9 2K. I'm gonna try and not make it super technical, but I just decided to mention that in case you want like me to expand on that, we can do that in a separate video. Okay, so let's have a look through the interface. So what you have is a very simple UI, and you have a couple of options. At the very bottom, you see a little dot over here. You click on that dot, and you have these quick shortcut options. So you can use your last the last brush that you had. You can toggle transparency. You could get the color picker. Not quite sure what this one does. I forget. And then this is another toggle over here. We can demonstrate it in a future video, as this is just for like an introduction. Then you have your transform tools. You have your text, your time lapse, perspective guides. In case you want to draw a cityscape or anything in perspective, you have the option to do that. You can import images. You have predictive stroke, which I always suggest you use when you want to ink something or just to get those nice tight lines. And then you have drawing styles, which is some shapes basically. When you toggle that, you can see the shapes you have. Let's go back. You have your symmetry tools in case you want to draw a symmetrical figure or symmetrical objects or certain designs. You have guides, which are like rulers. You have a fill, which is a paint bucket tool. You have transform, which will allow you to scale and move any object in a certain layer. And you have your selection. What you have here are your brushes. There's a whole bunch of them. Everybody is really different when how, sorry, everybody's really different with how they handle their sketches and how they handle their painting. Me personally, I don't use a lot of brushes. I used to think that you needed more brushes in order to come up with better work. That is not really true. It's not necessarily true. So, the amount of brushes you use is just dependent on the type of artist you are. You understand what I mean? If you use two brushes, that doesn't mean your artwork is going to be any worse or better. It depends on your skill level and your workflow. All right. So, what else we have? We have the brush settings. So you can actually change the settings of the brush that you want to use, the size and the opacity. You don't have to do it from here, but you can. So you can change certain aspects of your brushes, and each brush is different. It'll give you different types of characteristics, and you have advanced options with pressure sensitivity and all that. So it all depends on the brush and what they allow you to do with it. So let's go back to the tools. So we've looked at the different types of brushes. Let's look at the color picker or color palette. You have different colors, different hues, from light to dark and to grayscale. You have an HSL RGB type thing over here, so you can choose swatches. I think you can even create swatches if you want, but I'm not really too sure. You have a nice little toggle to toggle the HSL and your RGB over there. So that's a standard color picker. And then this is your layer panel. So depending on the resolution and the amount of RAM that your device has, you'll be able to create a certain amount of layers. When you're choosing your canvas size, it actually lets you know how many layers you'll be able to use. This device has about 12 gigs of RAM, and then there's virtual RAM. I don't know how usable the virtual RAM is by the different applications. It depends on optimization. But for 12 gigs of RAM, you get a couple extra layers compared to something with 8 or 4 or 2. So the more RAM you have, the more layers you're able to use in most of these drawing apps. Even on iOS, it's the same. Because the layers do take up quite a bit of RAM. So as you could see, I don't know if you could tell, I'm tapping on the plus sign at the top, which allows you to create more layers. So I'm trying to see our upper limit, and then it tells you right there. So you have up to 251 maximum layers with a 2K resolution drawing. Okay. So as you can see, I got this infinite scrolling going on over here. You cannot. I don't know how to select multiple layers. I don't think it's possible because I've tried before, but you can select them one by one. Certainly, you can move layers on top of each other. You can lock the layers. If you click on the layers, you will get this pop-up panel. You can clear your layer. You can merge two layers or merge all the layers if you want. Now you have one layer. Delete. And apart from that, you can lock your layer from here as well. You can adjust your HSL. And what's it called? You can do some color balance here. You can color label the layer in order to distinguish the layers from each other. As you can see, once I click violet, the little dot changes at the corner. Blending. So you can choose different kinds of blend modes just like you can in other applications. So you can choose darken, multiply, color burn, lighten, and all that. And then you can use that to enhance your art. So that has been an introduction to the tools and just a little overview of how to navigate the UI. So, all right, next question is, how do you start drawing? Well, it depends. Drawing in digital is the same as drawing in traditional. Why do I say that? Because you have to know the basics. You have to know the concepts. So I'm going to separate that into the next video, which I will upload simultaneously. So let's make this one separate video just as an introduction, and go and watch the next one if you're interested in continuing, so that it's not a super long video, because that's going to take some time. All right, see you in the next.